let's divide education and AI into a couple different areas. One is obviously age is very important. So, if we take K through 12, we do, that's one grouping. We take university and advanced degrees, that's a second grouping. Okay. And then let's divide that even more into thinking about how we apply this. So, AI for pedagogy and for the ability to actually plan courses and curriculums, extremely beneficial. It's been in use for a while. A lot of teachers and doing their lesson plans are using planning tools to assist in organizing their thoughts more collectively. I think that's a given, right? And again, what we encourage all of our clients to do is to really make sure that there's an AI policy that's in place up front. There's a legal component to this, an ethical component, and a bias component to it. But we really need to make sure that there are foundational elements in place before we start entertaining education, right? And so that's part one. Another section is really the ability to learn. How is AI shifting students' abilities to absorb information, process the information, and actually learn from it? And it's been a challenge because a lot of educators, and I'm sure some of the folks from University of Northern Georgia can comment on that, the student body and their interpretation of AI and how to use it in their everyday learnings has shifted over the last 12 months and will continue to shift over the next 24 months. So I think that's another area for discussion. And then lastly is, what are we doing in the pre-K and the early environmental learning stages? Because that's where education concepts and student susceptibility and absorption is at its highest. And so what are we doing in that level of space, and how is imagery and visualization and more immersive experiences shifting as a result of AI? So those are kind of the topics that we want to kind of discuss today.
Okay. Very good. I want to post a question. How do we develop fair and effective AI policies for students? And we'll start with the K through 12, and then we'll jump to the university level. Thoughts on that, on developing it for K through 12? All right.
Well, I think we should talk about a couple of things, Lee. I think the first is, okay, what should an AI policy contain, right? Is it how students use it to answer and create essays? Is it how do we use that to drive particular learning concepts? How do we measure performance using AI? So there's a bunch of different areas there, but I think we have to define, in part of the policy, is what is the guardrails? What should the guardrails be? Let's open that up for discussion.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, and thanks for that. I mean, what I'm seeing is the grassroots effort locally where I live. So teachers are using it, but there is a notable void of actual AI policy. So you have an adoption, by individuals without any real guidance. So I think that policy discussion is really, really important in the K through 12.
Yeah, it's very critical, and I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of schools that are out there where a principal has mandated something, but it may or may not be correct. I think there are a lot of legal entanglements ahead, and regulatory as well. But I think that it also, at the state level, the certification boards and what they're asking teachers to be knowledgeable in, and continuing education, those are all things that have to factor into the policy.
Okay.
Hey folks, it's Amy Goldsmith. I'm back.
We are so happy to have you back. Amy has been out with surgery, back surgery. So we're happy to have you. Hope you're doing well.
Amy is the AI policy queen. I just want to go on record and saying this is the person who educated me, and I find her advice invaluable.
Thank you. So I know from my goddaughter's children and from a lot of school districts around the country that they actually provide the laptop or the Chromebook or the iPad for the students to use, which is great, because that means that the school district is in control of what gets downloaded onto that particular means. So number one, that's the way it should be. Teachers really it's dangerous for a teacher to ask a student or parent to download the resource without the school district or the principal's okay. Because then it's just the Wild West and you have no idea what the child is doing with the resource. And, so that's number one. Number two is
for a lot of our students. And I'm just not comfortable doing it with the output of an AI. However, what I am building my effort toward, and what I'm trying to get people to think about, is the real challenge facing the students is to do better than the AI, or to do better than the next person with an AI. And I put it to them very bluntly. I say, if what you're turning in, if what you're producing is no better than what some random person off the street can get with an AI, then exactly what is the point of you and your salary expectations? Okay, how can you justify that? You're not doing any better than they are. So the educational objective is to teach them to use it to increase their productivity, to increase the quality of their work, and to always do better than the AI can do themselves. So,
Mike, I think we should record that statement, because that one is it's prolific. Number one. Number two is it hits it nail on the head, which is I've been struggling with this since AI came out, years ago. Is the I think we have to recognize, as you said, it's whack-a-mole to try to detect it, and you're going to get things that go past it. And I agree. We should make the assumption that AI is being used to generate the answers. The bigger question in my mind is, did you learn something, right? And we have not been able to quantify that in a world with AI. In other words, if I can write a prompt that gets me the answer to whatever the essay is, or gets me an answer, if I could do the LSAT, I'll pick on Amy for a minute, if I could answer all the questions on the bar or an LSAT and successfully get a high score using AI. Did I learn the concepts? No. Can I regurgitate them? Probably. But it doesn't mean that I've learned anything. How do we measure your knowledge learning? And that, I think, is the shift, the fundamental shift that has to happen.